What's up, whiskey fans, and welcome back to another video. Today we are sitting with another whiskey legend, Connal Mackenzie from the Ardnamurchan Distillery.
Well pronounced. Legend, not so sure, but okay.
Welcome to South Africa.
Thank you very much.
You are the sales director at Ardnamurchan.
Yep.
Give us a little bit insight into your whiskey journey and how you got started in whiskey.
Yeah, so my background is actually hotels and hospitality, food and beverage mainly. And that sort of took me around the world. I travelled with my good lady to Australia, Canada, and then latterly New Zealand. And there is a whiskey specialist in New Zealand, similar to Whiskey Brother actually, with the same knowledge team. They do a show. They're wholesalers. And I had a chat with a gentleman there, a Scotsman, called Michael Fraser Milne. In fact, he's from where Alan's from.
Okay.
They went to the same school actually. And he said, "Do you fancy giving up this hotel lark and coming over to the whiskey world?" I said, "No, I've got no idea about retail, and I was a whiskey fan, enthusiast, sure, but I didn't know how to sell it." And he said, "No, you'll be fine. We'll show you everything." So my missus at the time was 3 months pregnant, and I just didn't think a change in career at this stage was wise. But he kept knocking on the door, and I just went, "Do you know what? I'm pretty much sick of working till midnight on a Saturday, and maybe this is the time to change." So I took the leap, and I haven't looked back. I started there as operations manager of the family-owned company there, and the wee one came along. Things change when you have kids, and you're in New Zealand at the other side of the world. All my family are in the Highlands of Scotland, and my wife's family are in the Highlands of Scotland. And at that point, it was their only grandkid, and I just felt like we're just going to have to go home. So we were actually left as permanent residents of New Zealand. So one day I might go back, but Scotland's home just now, just outside Inverness in the Highlands. I went home to no job, but many contacts in the industry, and very luckily managed to land the job as sales manager with Adelphi Selection and Ardnamurchan Distillery. That was back in 2018.
Okay. Now, when I go through your website, I see the team. There's another Mackenzie, surname Mackenzie. No relations to.
No, I call him uncle. I wouldn't call him granddad, but he's good. Gordon Mackenzie's been there from the start. A lovely guy, and he knows every nook and cranny of that distillery.
Okay.
He's trained under two experienced managers and managed to get himself to that point of distillery manager. So yeah, he's great. Yeah, there's a lot of Gordons in our company as well.
Yeah, I know.
Gordon Mackenzie, Gordon Hamilton, Gordon Peterson. We're not that inventive in Scotland, Gordon, that'll do.
Now, Ardnamurchan prides itself in sustainability.
Yep.
You guys have now taken the title of the greenest distillery in Scotland. Can you give us a little bit of insight into your sustainability?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's no greenwashing going on here. When we built the distillery back in 2013, the Ardnamurchan Peninsula is home to around 400 people. And it's sandwiched on the mainland between the Isle of Skye and the Isle of Mull. It's the furthest western point in the whole of the UK. So you literally cannot get any further west. It's home to some of the most beautiful scenery of Scotland, in my opinion. It's absolutely glorious. So when we wanted to build a distillery there, we didn't want to come in with we wanted to minimise our footprint, basically. And we are lucky because we were building it from scratch. A lot of distilleries that have been going for 200 plus years can't simply just change the way they make whiskey or power the plant. We were lucky. We could approach it with a sort of, what can we do here? So we invested in the build. I think it was an extra £1 million we spent on a Swiss biomass boiler, which takes wood chip, which we forest locally, about a mile, 2 miles away. We plant everything that we take, and we burn that wood chip, which produces the steam, which basically runs the whole facility. We also have solar panels on our warehouses and a hydro generator on our river, which we take our cooling water from. So basically what I'm saying is we could go off grid completely.
Okay.
We were producing enough energy to go off grid. There's not a drop of oil on site. So from that point of view, the greenest distillery, it's a bit of a throwaway comment. You know, there's lots of newer distilleries that have taken that approach as well. Our neighbours, Nuclean, they're biomass as well. They're certified organic, and they've really gone for that. For us, if it makes sense, we'll do it. But primarily, it has the liquid comes first.
Okay.
We're not here, you know, with our Green Warrior badges on. We've got to make tasty whiskey because that's our bread and butter. If we can do that in a sustainable way, everyone wins.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, being a new distillery only established in 2014, how do you find the market with the selection that we've got in the whiskey world today? How do you find the market with your products?
There's never been a better time to be a whiskey enthusiast. I mean, you can try everything and anything. You know, just now the choice is unbelievable. The thing I would say is that, you know, yes, we started in 2014. We released our whiskey in 2020, which was a wonderful year. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It was shocking. Good plan to launch it then. But we have our sister company, Adelphi, which bottles single cask strength whiskey, has been going since 1992.
Okay.
So we had a kind of foot into the industry. Well, we were in the industry. So we kind of had set up distribution. We knew the markets, and we knew how to go from there. So we had maybe a slight advantage there, that we were still visiting whiskey markets under the Adelphi banner, but also said, hey, our whiskey will be here soon. We're building, or we built Ardnamurchan. But I mean, right now as we sit here, I mean, the market, the industry is a bit slow just now. You know, I think the whole world's just coming out of, you know, a recession. Let's be honest. I mean, whiskey's a luxury product. So, but you know, we're still doing, you know, reasonably well. I mean, what it's done is from 2020, from launch to 2024, I suppose, we're just heads down. Like I couldn't keep up. So now actually taking a step back and going, right, where can we grow? What markets do we want to be in? Let's take set and look at where we want to be. So we're actually just looking at, you know, supplying the new markets which we just couldn't even look at. You know, like the Baltics, like Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, that we just couldn't focus on. We're just going into Greece. So it's not as busy as it was 2021, 2022, but we're managing to focus the brand on other projects.
Okay. Well, that's pretty amazing. Now, I believe at Ardnamurchan, you guys don't have a master blender.
It's
There's
true.
a team of 6 people that put this liquid together. Can you give us a little bit of insight into it?
So Alex Bruce, our managing director, who's been with Adelphi since 2003-4, my direct boss, he could have quite easily of just taken the mantle off. Okay. It's me. I'm going to be the master blender, and that's it. Of course, he could have done that, and that's pretty common, to be honest. And he would have been quite right to do it. But he felt that our sales and marketing team have got varied roles in alcohol over the years. So, for example, Graham Mackay, in my sales team, he has been sales for whiskey. He's worked in a retail shop, the Good Spirits Company in Glasgow. He's extremely well versed in rum, agave spirits, and of course whiskey. Jenny Carlson, our marketing manager, she has worked in the industry for, I'm going to mess this up, certainly 20 plus years. But she started her career at Springbank.
Okay.
And then moved, she's been at Weems, she's done some work for Glendronach, and then of course joined us. Antonia Bruce, Alex's sister, and on my sales team, she's worked in Champagne for a very, very long time, and wine background. So all our, and Carl Crafts, who's been with us now for just over 2 years, originally from the US, had a craft beer company in the US. So we've got alcohol every single which way. All the team have got fantastic palates and nosing, and Alex just wanted to utilise that, to be honest. So we've actually got a blending session tomorrow. I'm going to miss out on it.
Okay.
But that's the beauty of it. Because we're all travelling and we're all busy, as long as we get 3 people from that blending team there, then we're happy. more the merrier, obviously.
Yeah.
If there's 4 or 5 around the table, then great. But as long as we've got a minimum of 3, the team are blending the next McLean's Nose tomorrow and looking at some Tokai casks.
Okay.
We exclusive there. Shh.
So do you guys like just sit around a table and you go yay, nay, this, that, the next thing, and then obviously come to a team decision as to what you put out?
As much as I would like to tell you that we walk around in white coats and clipboards and stuff in a sanitary environment, no, we usually sit around our boardroom, which is at our sales office in Fife, just north of Edinburgh, and yeah, we've got obviously beakers and measuring and syringes and all the rest of it, but we usually, what happens is we'll pick samples now for what we're wanting to blend. So for example, with McLean's Nose, we'll pick, Alex or myself will look at the spreadsheet of stock that we've got available to use, and we'll blind pick those casks with extra as well. And then it goes into a Spiegelau, what we call a snifter glass, with a concentrated chimney, and we're nosing. We're nosing for faults, for defects in the whiskey. If that passes nose, it will go into the blend, and we build a base and then we add to it from there.
Okay.
It's a laborious process. It might sound like fun. We're certainly not drinking it. If something is exceptional or on the line of, we will taste, that will simply go to the side as a future single cask or something like that. But then everything else goes into the blend. But it can take up to 8 hours.
Sure.
What was the one we did last? It was the Sauternes cask.
Okay.
The peated Sauternes cask, which is going to be released next week. That took a while to get right. And then our new Midgie release took about 7 hours to get that right.
Okay.
And it was the first time we worked with port casks. We never worked with port in Ardnamurchan, so we just went back and forth, start again, lunch, get back to it. But the perfect time to start is about 9 a.m., 10 a.m.
Okay.
When your palate's at its freshest and you're alive. But yeah, it's one of my favourite parts of my job is blending, watching something come to life, and then you say goodbye to it, and then the casks come down and it gets reduced, or if it's bottled to cask strength, the next time you see that whiskey, it's in a bottle with a label, and that's very satisfying. But yeah, that's essentially how we do it.
Okay, it must be incredibly satisfying, like I said, to sit there with the raw materials, then seeing a bottle product.
Yeah, sure.
It's amazing. Now, your AD series is your core range with a lot of amazing different casks. I mean, I have a rum cask at home, which I absolutely love, and I'm trying not to drink too much of it because I don't want the bottle to finish.
There's not a lot of it. It's pretty much disappeared, that one. That was a few years ago.
Yeah.
That was, I was nearly 8 years old. I think it was 5 years in bourbon casks.
Okay.
And then it was a 2.5 year finish in ex-Appleton Estate, Jamaican rum casks. And yeah, what it was a proper rum finish.
That was like, I think I've actually done a YouTube video on it, and I was like, it blows my mind every time I drink it. So like I said, I'm trying to limit myself to finishing the bottle because I don't know if I'll find another.
I don't know.
What other cask expressions can we expect to see in the AD series?
So as I said, the peated Sauterne is imminent. We've also put together the first tranche of our what we're going to call Heritage Barley series.
Okay.
So that's going to be a Golden Promise release. That's coming out before Christmas. One of the things I need to put together when I get home with the team is potentially a new 10-year-old, but it'll be a 10-year-old with peated distillate in there. Our 10-year-old anniversary release last year, we wanted to celebrate. We turned double digits. I think that's a big thing for an independent company. So we wanted to release that. That was simply unpeated Ardnamurchan. But this year we've got some peated stuff to work with, so we're going to look at that, see what that looks like. Tokai, we've got some good casks of Tokai which are still maturing in Warehouse 1, and then I suppose it's just there's a few other bits and pieces for next year.
Yeah.
We've got some great ex-Isla quarter casks which we filled with, was it unpeated? No, it's filled with peated distillate from Ardnamurchan, and they're really good quality casks. I won't name the distillery because I don't think I'm allowed to, but I think that people know what I'm talking about quarter cask guys, so they can figure it out.
I'll figure it out.
Yeah, and they're coming on really lovely.
Okay.
So actively trying to get some more mezcal wood, but it's very difficult.
Okay.
So obviously we just released the mezcal this year, and it was in spring this year in the UK, and it was a 5,000 bottle batch, and it just disappeared. So, but it's really funky, earthy, vegetal. So if you really like that sort of style, it's perfect for you. But it's a challenging whiskey is what I would call it.
And what's your favorite cask finish?
My favorite Ardnamurchan whiskey has to be our cask strength.
Okay.
So it's very simply 90%, 95% from ex-bourbon barrels, and mostly peated distillate, bottled at whatever it comes out of the cask. So it's usually 56 and higher, whatever the natural strength is. For me, that shows off Ardnamurchan the best. It's saline, the fruit's there, the waxiness, the weight of the spirit, and it's got a long, lovely finish. So for me, the cask strength is probably the best thing that we've produced so far.
I'd have to agree with you on that, because I've also got a bottle of that at home, and that is like, it is also like, it's I like to say it's deep. It's like, it's deep with flavor. I don't know. There's no words to.
I mean, that's what I'm most proud of. A lot of the team would agree with me as well. I think like Jenny would say, the Paul Noir's her favourite. The ex-champagne barriques that we use. And don't get me wrong, that's an absolute cracking dram. But for me, for pure Ardnamurchan, what does Ardnamurchan taste like? Try that. And it's versatile. It's great, straight up in a Glencairn. You put it on the rocks on a summer's day, it's fantastic. And honestly, it makes one of the best highballs that you can have, because the whiskey stands up to either a ginger ale or a soda water that you're using. So yeah, it's good. It's good.
That's great. Now, what can we expect from Ardnamurchan in the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
I wish I could have a solid 5 to 10 year plan. We kind of, right in the seat of our pants most of the time. But look, I think we're going to continue doing what we're doing, and making the best possible quality spirit. We are experimenting a little bit with barley varietals, which will be coming good, I suppose, in the next 5 to 10 years. We've been experimenting with heavily peated malt as well. Okay. You'll probably see that soon, probably next year. And that's like really heavily peated. It's 88 ppm. So you'll see something there. We have a malt floor at Ardnamurchan and a kiln, so we can do our own maltings. We just haven't got there yet. It's something that's on that to-do list. Yeah. It's just a big to-do list. So I would love to say by 5 to 10 years we could have a Ardnamurchan peat. What does Ardnamurchan peat taste like? Because all our maltings are done in the Highlands, but not by us. We don't have the only distillery I know, I think, that does the whole process from start to finish would be Springbank. It's very rare for anyone else to do it, because you're talking 400,000 litres of liquid we produce a year. That's a lot of barley. Yeah. Our malt floor would house a couple of ton of barley, and we've got the kiln, so we can cut some Ardnamurchan peat and see what that looks like. It could be a very interesting project. So that's very much something that I would love to get started as soon as possible.
And now you said you mentioned McLean's Nose last year. That did incredibly well.
Yeah.
Were you part of that project in creating that?
Yeah. I mean, McLean's Nose was, we chatted about it for a long time. Alex had actually copyrighted the name McLean's Nose about 10 years ago. So he knew that we were going to use that. The reason why it's called McLean's Nose is that about 2 miles from the distillery, there's a beautiful bay called Camas Nagal, it's called, and it overlooks to the Isle of Mull, Tobermory. And at the end of the mountain, there's a sort of rocky mountain that falls into the Sound of Mull. And the name of that, on the shipping forecast, is like a prominent point. It's called McLean's Nose. Okay. Now, we've been working with a chap for a wee while now. He's been working with us since inception of Adelphi, so 33 years ago. Charlie McLean, the whiskey writer. He's been writing about whiskey since 1983. So Charlie McLean's Nose, we rely on his nose, and the rock beside the distillery is called McLean's Nose. We had to do something. So McLean's Nose was born. Originally, it was going to be a blended malt, is what we were going to do. But we just figured out that malt was just expensive. And we wanted this to be a value-driven product, but of great quality. Now, what we wanted to do was flip the sort of blend recipe. So most blends really are about 20%, if that, malt to 80% grain. So we thought, well, why don't we just change them? So we're 70% malt, 30% grain, and it's a proper West Coast 46% Highland blend. Sherry casks are matured in there, and I don't know what it is here. I think it's about 600 rand here in the South African market.
Yeah.
About £32 in the UK. It's value for money. It's pretty good, and of course, ancho filtered and natural.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I saw it when Ralphie came
Ah,
and
yes.
said, "This is my whiskey of the year," and then you're like, "But hang on, what is that? I've never actually seen that
Yeah.
before." So that was my first introduction to Maclean's Nose, and I think it's a fabulous liquid. It's really, really great. Now, I ask this question to everybody at the end of the interviews. It's a nice little fun one. If you were stuck on a desert island,
Yeah.
what would be the one bottle you would take with you?
Oh, that's a good question. I think you need to caveat that by saying not my own liquid, so not something from Ardnamurchan Distillery. So one distillery, I suppose, right? A single cask ex-bourbon Kleinleash.
Carnage.
If you had a gun to my head, yeah. I could have given you a top 5, but yeah, no, a Kleinleash for me, or Old Talisker are very hard to beat.
Yeah, I saw that in one of your, I was reading last night, some of your other interviews that you did, and you did, some of them did ask that question, and you gave the Kleinleash, the Talisker, and I think Springbank came in there.
Springbank's a
one or
glorious
two in there,
liquid.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that's fantastic. Connal, thank you
No,
very
pleasure.
much for your time today. It's been an absolute honour. I've really enjoyed our time together, and hopefully we can educate the viewers that there's a little bit more than Jameson and Jack Daniels to the whiskey world.
There certainly is. There's a whole big old world out there,
Yeah.
and once you start exploring, going down that rabbit hole, it's very hard to get out of it.
No.
And just one little, I suppose, from me, thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure chatting to you here at the Whisky Brother shop. And just to punt two single cask exclusives for the South African market. It's a pleasure to come to your country. I've got some family here, so it's always good to catch up with them. But we've obviously got the single cask Ardnamurchan, 9 years old, exclusively bottled for Whisky Brother from 2015 vintage. Peated first world bourbon barrel, natural strength of 56.9, single cask. So when it's gone, it's gone. There's 257 bottles of this.
Cool.
And it proved extremely popular at the show here in Joburg a couple of days ago. And then we thought we'd do an Adelphi for the show as well, or for Whisky Brother, sorry. And this is a Adelphi single cask from Kalila on Isla, matured for 10 years, not finished, matured for 10 years in Pedro Jimenez PX, bottled at a strength of 56%. So both absolutely glorious liquids. One, obviously, heavy sherry cask, and one first world bourbon barrel.
I mean, you can tell. I mean, that colour is just like stunning.
It definitely grabs the eyes. It gets your attention quite quickly. But yeah, I mean, Kalila is just one of these distilleries as an independent bottler that I always gravitate to because the distillate is just so good.
It's amazing stuff. But thank you very much again. I really do appreciate it. It's
Pleasure.
been an absolute pleasure.
Cheers, man.
and we hope to see more of you in South Africa.
It's
see more.
Second time here, and I hope to keep coming back. Yeah,
I hope so too. Like I said, if we can get the shows going, the education going, the awareness going, we can.
I was saying that at my tasting at the show in Joburg as well. I said, it's quite rare in a market like South Africa. When you've got to support your local, so you've got to support people like Mark. Yes, there might be retailers here that can slash prices and discount prices, but if you can support your local, who've got the knowledge, who have got the passion, who have got the ends to support the independent distilleries as well, then what you're gonna get from that in your market is just increased sales, increased visits from people like myself and Alan Winchester, for goodness sake, absolute legend in our industry, and the shows will grow. There'll be more tastings, there'll be more events. So yeah, Mark and the team here have just done a fantastic job, and I hope they continue to grow.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Cheers.